because we've seen what Frost can do with Diana. It's just a matter of what can Blaze do.
Well, we see both teams, actually. OGN, the finals between two of them, Diana was a contested pick. They kind of traded her back and forth, and she's been a very strong pick for a while now. Azubu, Blaze making their way up into the top lane. They're going to be moving over. Jace, he just barely sees them. So, unfortunately, they were trying to maybe get an invade on the blue, but he does keep an eye on him. He's going to poke into the bush. Get some, nope, not hit anyone.
Yeah, he did not get the explode because it did not actually hit anyone, and that is just on its own.
I thought it was in range.
A pretty good, a pretty good indicator. But Diana takes one free shot. Everyone backs off. Everyone is spotted. So right now, Frost knows where pretty much, they know where 80% of Blaze is. They still have no data on Aurelia quite yet, though.
Yeah, but right now, while Azubu Blaze is coming for the invade on the blue, Sivir getting some nice harass over the wall. You see the rest of the Frost team, they're coming over the side. Vladimir's going to get some nice damage onto Diana, but backs off for a second. So just a small little skirmish, then they back off. And I think that'll kind of result in both teams playing defensively. You see, actually, the recall from Diana. So a little bit low, doesn't want to go into lane, missing any health. And both teams will be ready for another jungle. But already off the bat, we've talked about in the past the excellent ward coverage from these Korean teams in particular, and how much presence they put around the map.
It's, by the way, not a Scar award, thankfully.
Three wards for Azubu Blaze right now. One for Frost, but 3 for Blaze right now. And Frost, I don't think they've actually spotted that Vayne and Lulu are up in this top lane. So Jace is in for an interesting situation there.
Yeah. But Jace, he does have the range farm. He does okay at a distance. He shouldn't be doing too bad for himself. Aurelia, same story. She getting quite tanky. The sustained is sufficient enough. She should be okay. So the lane swap situations for the solos are okay. It's just a matter of, can the duos get their push on. Sivir, we know, is a very good pusher, one of the best AD pushers in the game, if not the. But then you got Vayne, though, with Lulu. That is a very big harass combo.
Yeah, it's really dangerous, and you already see Olaf coming in. They might go for a tower dive early on. On the other side, Lulu or Aurelia actually went for the blue buff first, so she's going to recall, and then she's going to be able to head back into that bottom lane. So getting pretty low there, but that's actually going to be really nice for spammability, and she doesn't actually waste that much time getting that blue buff. It puts her in a situation where they're just now pushing into the turret. She's going to get down there as the minion wave's hitting the turret, and we'll be slightly behind, but the blue will really help her out there. So nice play off the bat from Blaze, and a blue steal on the other end. So the great ward coverage has afforded them this really nice aggressive play. They have 3 of the buffs secured on their team.
And this is putting Skarner further and further behind. So very early on. Is spotted, checking over at his blue, realize it is gone. Pings from both teams going down. It's like, well, damn, I guess we need to make the best of this situation. Gonna be recalling up there in the top tri-bush, and here we go. Aurelia with the blue buff. What can you do underneath tower? And the answer, farm.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, though. Aurelia, at this point, she can kind of dip in with her Blade Surge to farm some, but against the Taric, she's going to have to worry about taking a lot of quick burst damage, and so it's going to be kind of dangerous. You see there, just trying to get what she can. Underneath the turret, as the minions are dying, she can pick up a couple more because they'll be kind of threatened by the turret damage. Once she hits 6, she should be okay, but Jace is going to have an easier time farming and also stopping that minion wave from doing too much damage to his turret. But both lanes have really aggressive pushing potential, and you see Vayne and Lulu already trying to take it down.
How many more minion waves do you think Jace could possibly defend against before his tower goes down? Because it's already a half.
Well, the next cannon minion wave, it's going to be pretty close to going down because they're already getting a lot of successful damage. He can AoE the range minions, and he should be able to kill those pretty quickly. But considering that he's going to have to deal with a cannon minion, that next cannon minion wave should probably take it down. You do see Aurelia diving in on Sivir a little bit. Sivir's going to be fine, but Olaf putting some pressure on this bot lane to give Aurelia some farming opportunities, and they do push the lane off of the turret, and that actually might be the key for them to do a lane swap. So Aurelia is recalling. We'll see if she's just buying some armor or like a Doran shield or something to try and continue in that lane, or if she decides to switch up into the top lane. Yeah, because
at the speed that right now Vayne and Lulu are taking this tower, it's like, well, the lane swap, it's going to be common, and it's going to be coming pretty soon. This is the cannon minion wave we were talking about. The tower could actually go down straight here, and unfortunately, Jace completely whiffing on that Q going through the gate, and that Q just on its own going through the gate has a lot of wave clear potential, but it has to hit the wave
Oh, and you see, they really quickly, they take down the turret. It is that cannon minion wave. That's just, it's the right timing opportunity. They're able to grab that. Skarner does make his way up in the top lane, just wants to make sure that Olaf isn't, you know, being too aggressive down here. And Olaf, he actually is. So, but Skarner backs off just in time to miss Olaf, and he's actually going to come in on Jace. They're not going to be able to pick up the kill here, but they're going to get some nice damage and put him in a dangerous situation. Vayne's actually going for this. They might actually tower dive this.
It's sufficient. It's sufficient to keep him at bay.
Yeah.
He knows he cannot get aggressive. Even with the Skarner help, it's not going to be doing quite a bit, but he can still have the range farm, albeit he's at the second tier. That's not the best situation to be in, and we'll see actually if Blaze decides to swap back, or if they're going to keep with their guns. They do have a ward over by blue. Vayne and Lulu could actually still keep pushing.
Oh my god, he's going to get it.
That's quite a bit of damage coming out with the Summoner heal. You got the Boomerang down. It's still quite a bit. Taric tanking one tower hit. That got very close, but you did bait out the heal, though.
Wow, really great play from Aurelia, just barely not able to pick that up. The turret shots on the Sivir, I thought he was going to go down for a second, but they are safe to back off. Slight early gold lead from the lane swap for Azubu Frost, but Aurelia's actually done a really nice job of keeping up with Jace. That's an interesting thing. And now to switch over to the mid lane, I do actually really like the Vladimir pick in the mid lane because it's something we haven't seen for a while. MLG, I don't think there was a single Vladimir pick the entirety of MLG, but a couple of teams have played him in the mid some. He was predominantly a top lane, but he's very safe in the mid lane. He can farm effectively, and then he can start to bully around some laners. And then his AoE damage in team fights, it's really just, he can instant win team fights for you. So that's an interesting lane matchup. Vlad does have to worry about Diana's aggression, but with the pull, he should generally be safe. But it's the fact that Diana also gets the follow-up ult. So, you know, if Diana ults in once, forces the pull off of Vlad, Diana can ult in a second time, and that's going to make things dangerous. But generally speaking, Vladimir should win this lane and be able to farm safely for that strong mid game.
Yeah, that's what Vlad needs. As soon as he gets farmed up, as soon as he starts itemizing well, he gets that revolver, he gets something like an hourglass or even a death cap. The damage output is there. You just gotta get there first, and he's only level 6 at the moment in terms of farm. He's actually not doing too bad versus Diana, not even 10 behind, at least not quite yet. He did go back, and with that extra time, Diana should actually take a nice, pretty nice lead. But on Vlad's back, he does get the revolver. He will have that extra sustain in lane, so he should be able to stick around a little bit longer in lane as the game progresses.
Well, you saw that last matchup, Diana, you know, throwing in the Q. Vlad kind of panicked for a second. He was a little bit scared.
Rightly so,
he does. Yeah, rightly so, because he recognizes how much burst damage Diana has, so it was a dangerous situation. I'm curious whether or not he might go with a Spirit Visage build for that cooldown reduction. It also gives him a little bit of MR, and the health gives him a little bit more survivability against Diana, which is something he's going to be worrying about. But I don't know, we'll have to keep an eye on that lane. In the bot lane, some nice damage going from Sivir and Taric. They should have a favorable matchup here, but you see, you know, Vayne's actually doing a nice job of farming, slightly behind Sivir, but not in that dangerous of a spot.
Dropping down the ult, Vlad is committed as he wants the damage. He is ignited. That regen is down, but here comes Skarner. The pull, the ignite, not actually taking Vlad down to death. As Skarner, hero of the day, claims the first blood in mid up against Diana.
Yeah, Skarner's still incredibly strong as a jungler. He provides so much map control. You know, his early damage is actually really strong. I think that's something that a lot of people underestimate. Lulu was split from them, so actually Vayne is caught off, does get some damage from the Taric stun, and is backed off. So that's always a dangerous spot. Lulu was trying to drop a ward, and then this kind of cutoff point had to take the long way around and left Vayne kind of vulnerable for a moment. But really nice play in the mid lane. Vladimir kind of baiting out Diana, recognizing once her ult's on cooldown, she doesn't really have the best follow-up.
I would like to see Vlad build into some early health items, haunting guys, maybe even to a Rylai's, because one of the biggest things that you can have against a champ like Vlad, who sustains very well, is true damage. And frankly, on Blaze, there's a lot of it. There's the Olaf with the swing, and there's also Vayne with the silver bolts. That's a lot of stuff to worry about, especially here in the mid when you're getting a 3-man push. There was nowhere for Vlad to go on that one.
Yeah, they do a good job of pressuring that lane. Vayne and Lulu being aggressive in the bot, but having Vlad down and having all 5 members here, that's going to be a pretty easy dragon for Azubu Blaze. Vayne does have to watch out, though. Vayne's kind of separated from the rest of the team, so doesn't want to get caught off for a moment here. And Taric wants to be aggressive in this opportunity, just zone her from the lane, recognizing that the rest of the team is going for that dragon, but they will be able to pick that up for a nice gold lead.
Yeah, even if Vayne did die, the dragon's worth about 2 kills, so it'll still be a net gain. Not the largest of net gains if she ended up getting caught, but still a gain nonetheless.
Yeah, but there's just no reason for her to get caught.
It's a needless death. It's a needless death, really, at this point. But they're doing a pretty good job on the push. I mean, bot tier 1's actually still relatively healthy. Diana actually coming here into the top lane, defending the push against Jace. He's been farming freely on his own for a little bit too long, longer than Blaze is comfortable with. So Diana makes a visit, makes sure that he's not misbehaving too badly. Farm some of his minions still, but Jace wants this. Diana trying to keep him within range of the turret, but the Ignite is going to be more than enough to grab that kill, and Jace with that blue buff top lane is going to continue to farm for a little while. Meanwhile, Aurelia picking up the slack in mid, throwing down the ult, wants to keep the lane pushed, just so Vlad has, just so he doesn't have an opportunity to free farm himself.
Yeah, Jace versus Diana, it's a favorable lane matchup. I think they wanted to swap Aurelia into the mid lane, so Aurelia could be aggressive against Vlad, because Aurelia versus Vlad is kind of a common counter matchup. Though at this point in the game, usually it's Aurelia is just really dominant in the early levels, and Vlad being level 8 and having it be a short lane, Vlad should be pretty safe in that lane. So, you know, Aurelia might have a difficult time of wearing him down. But I don't know, we'll have to see. I think it might have been actually to even keep Jace away from Aurelia. They know that Aurelia needs to get pretty tanky in this matchup in order to be effective, and they wanted to get her out of there. Skarner and Vlad dueling in the mid, though, and the rest of the team is here as well.
Big skirmish here in the mid. Vlad being forced to pull out once again. Diana doesn't even need to use the entire kit to help Olaf get the kill there in mid.
Yeah, they're able to pick that up pretty easily, putting a lot of pressure, moving around as a team. It's still only 2-2, but you're seeing a lot more movement from Azubu Blaze, so taking advantage of Azubu Frost being a little bit more stationary, Jace sitting up in the top lane more, and now he's starting to come down. So Shy, recognizing he needs to be a little bit more involved with this team, is making his way down, and we'll see, you know, how they can continue to pressure this. Olaf going to back off for a second, so everyone just kind of buying right now and comfortable with continuing to farm.
So Blaze has a 500 gold lead at this point. However, they're a tower up and a dragon up, which mathematically is about what should be a 2K lead. Where the hell did that go?
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes into farm. Jace versus Aurelia, you see a massive farm lead there. Sivir versus Vayne, a slight farm lead there. So it's, you know, just a couple of things like that. You know, gold pretends are pretty even. There's, you know, it's one on each team, so it really is just a slight farm lead for Azubu Frost right now. But Blaze, if they continue to be aggressive, then they are opening up opportunities for themselves to, you know, bully around Frost. They just have to make sure that the aggression pays off and that they don't fall behind in farm.
Yep. Looks like Vlad's actually building into the Abyssal. He's got that Negatron cloak first. He wants to make sure he can withstand the moon. Does not like that light shining down on him. He needs some extra resistance in order to stay in the lane. Meanwhile, top lane, you got Jace. He has that Brutalizer, going to be coming with big damage there. You look on the other side, though, Diana got those Doran's rings, ring on each hand, plus the Spell Pen boots. Going to help immensely heading on into mid-game with that. You also got Aurelia working for the Trinity. Phage is done. Zeal almost there. You're going to be getting that Sheen last. And meanwhile, Vayne going for that Zeal first. She doesn't quite need big damage first, as long as you get that attack speed, move speed, crit, you're pretty fine, but here we go. You got the stun coming in from Tarek.
He gets out.
He gets out. Sivir throwing on the ultimate 2. They're dancing very close to Frost tier 1 turret down in bot. Wild Growth on low, still proccing.
Diana's here as well, coming up the side.
Here we go. Diana coming in, looking for the Q, looking for the engage. There's slows coming in too. That is the time. Flash on over, grabbing the Sivir kill. Skarner wants to bring her back down within tower, but uses the second part of the ult for the double. Very well coordinated by Azubu Blaze.
Yeah, really nice job from Blaze, and a little bit pressing the issue too much from Frost. They wanted to pick up the kill onto Vayne. Vayne is getting low. The Q does hit from Jace, but can't quite get into range. So very dangerous there. But Skarner and Tarek, they tried to see if they could, you know, get a quick kill onto Vayne, just stun her, pull her back into the tower. And they actually did a really great job. Lulu was able to get the polymorph off. Vayne was able to get the tumble off. And the invis from the ultimate is really what saved Vayne. She was able to get out of range of Skarner, and they were able to turn it around. So no pressure on Vayne, and Vayne has just so much damage at this point in the game. You know, just scaling off of her ultimate, really. You don't need any damage items. So compared with other ADs, Vayne's usually really strong early on in skirmishes. So protecting Vayne, they were able to turn that around fairly easily. And then there was no pressure from Frost. I'm surprised they forced a fight there without anyone coming down. You saw once again Blaze with more movement having Diana come into that bot lane.
It was a bit of a split though from Frost. It's like, oh, maybe we should still be underneath tower. Maybe we should try and bait them in, get the tower some free shots, or maybe we should attempt to full on retreat, let the tower fall, and try to live. But there was a bit of a split. Skarner stuck by the tower. He was hugging it, trying to get people to bait. He was trying to bait people into more tower shots, and everyone else full out ran, and they paid the price for it.
Yeah, but this is a great job from Frost right here. This is what we've been looking for, them to start grouping up as a team, try and make things happen. They do pick up that mid lane. We'll see if they, continue to kind of split off or if they try and move a little bit, because they're still down 2-1 in turrets, but having that mid lane turret's pretty beneficial, and Sivir's ultimate can really change team fights right now. Same thing with Vladimir. Vladimir and Sivir just provide them so much control in fights, and then Skarner, his ability to just lock down one person and guarantee a kill is very strong right now for Azubu Frost if they can try and press fights against Blaze. And
one of the big things too with many of the Korean teams is champion synergy. Two champions that work really well together. In this case, Sivir and Skarner with all of that movement speed. It's really going to help Skarner later on get those engages he wants. Out in front, Olaf is stunned temporarily. He does have an Oracles now. Free shots from Jace as everyone's running away. Looks like Frost may be looking to force something here. Full 5 retreat from Blaze. Split from Diana, not with the team, but could come back into it. There's the Vlad starting things off, and the pull trying for slows. Flashes being forced out, and that is a quick Jace kill down onto Lulu. Olaf very low in his own. You got Vayne, turret shots, one more shot onto Vlad, gonna get that kill, but Vayne gonna be going down in her own. There's a Q from Diana getting vision, but there's the acceleration gate movement speed coming in for Frost. Gonna keep Blaze away and grab the dragon for themselves.
And that fight was all about Shy with the Jace shots, just constantly wearing them down. Vladimir has a lot of damage too, but you saw Blaze, they were scared to turn and fight because they knew that they would be turning right into a Vlad ult, and they would all be like packed together because they were all running away together. So they didn't have an opportunity to split. So they knew they couldn't turn and fight that situation because Vlad would have, aced them. So they had to just keep on running, and Jace was just wearing at their backside the entire time. So really nice fight from Frost of recognizing that opportunity, able to chase them down.
But that is the strength of Jace, is the fact that he has such huge and long poke. It's kind of intimidating, really, but it's going to help immensely though in those later fights, especially with the synergy with champs like Skarner and Taric. It's like, well, if you get too close, we're going to engage. If you stay too far away, I'm just going to poke you all day.
Sivir, can she spell shield it? She does have the shield, but the condemn, it's not there
waiting
yet.
For it.
Hasn't used it. Vayne's going to chase her down
there
for that
you
kill.
Go. Very well done.
So exchanging the turret for the death, Sivir thought maybe she was going to be able to get out in time, but wasn't actually able to, didn't actually use the ultimate, so the ultimate was on cooldown, and that probably would have been enough, but Vayne just has too much movement speed when in pursuit and was able to chase her down for that kill, and that's a really great situation for Vayne. Vayne's strong enough at this point to 1v1 Sivir, and that's going to allow Vayne to just continue to farm and maybe deny Sivir a little bit of farm. Usually Sivir's pretty safe with farming, she can just AoE minion waves, but Vayne is just such a strong 1v1 champion at this point that that could maybe give them the bot lane in their favor.
Well, this is how you know Vayne is dangerous in the game, and that's when she has the Phantom Dancer. When you have the extra movement speed and the attack speed and the crit, couple that with the passive coming from the Silver Bolts, all that true damage.
And
that's
ultimate,
when ultimate and everything. That's when you know. Like as soon as the Phantom Dancer is completed, you need to watch your back.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the best thing about Vayne is that you don't need to get a lot of early damage. You can get the movement speed that Phantom Dancer gives you. It gives you a little bit more survivability in fights, and then she scales very well as the game progresses. So that's going to be really dangerous for Frost. Vladimir can potentially get some nice damage, but it's going to be tough. If Vayne sits outside of the Vladimir ultimate, then they might have a tough time shutting her down. So that's really going to be key for Rapid Star in particular, and trying to get Skarner in there as well, but trying to shut down Vayne in those team fights and play that kind of anti-carry role.
Did Vlad earlier just get out of the polymorph with his pool? Because I heard the audio cue from Lou. It's kind of weird.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think just the right timing. Because sometimes when two abilities happen at the same time, strange interactions happen like that. Sometimes one champion escapes, sometimes the other cancels. Like we mentioned polymorph and Valkyrie from Corki before, and it turns out it does cancel that out. Maybe it doesn't cancel out pool.
Yeah, I remember that was funny. We had mentioned that a while ago, and people were like, "No, I don't think it does." But
And then MLG happened.
Yeah, MLG happened, and I mean that is a really interesting interaction. Polymorph it's such a strong ability. It's stronger than a stun.
It is.
So it's I don't know. It just has a lot of advantages. So that's one of the reasons that Lulu's so strong.
It's one of the things that
Polymorph is.
It was one of the things that makes Lulu so unique outside of other supports. No other support can even fathom having that kind of ability or that kind of control in a team fight.
Yeah, it's really strong. I mean, particularly against some champions. No one on this team in particular. I mean, Skarner, it'll help against Skarner some. But I don't know. It actually might cut in the animation. I'm curious whether or not it stops the animation for his pull. But they are moving up, trying to see if they can get something to happen on Aurelia. But do back off for a second. They have some decent vision. They saw a couple of them moving over to the red. So Frost just kind of sitting back, playing safely, and both teams having a lot of wards. So the question is, where's the oracles? Because that's something that we've seen a lot from the Korean teams in particular, those really early oracles. But I guess both teams a little bit concerned, trading a little bit too many deaths and concerned about survivability. And so the result is it's a pretty even kind of map control game right now.
We did see one on we did see an oracles on Olaf earlier, and he did lose it during the engage with the split heading on down in the bot lane. He has yet to rebuy, and I think that's the right call though. But if you're not going to be buying oracles, you need to supplement it by increasing your purchase of pink wards, or at least having a pink ward or two for the critical areas, like your ramp, like Baron, like Dragon, those major objectives.
Yeah, that's definitely key. I know a lot of teams do prefer the pink wards actually to even getting oracles, but if you can keep an eye on that. We'll see how that's going to work. Now, at this point in the game, it's going to be kind of interesting. It really is anyone's game right now. I mean, both teams have an incredible late game with Vayne versus Sivir. Vayne has the advantage there, so if Blaze can protect Vayne, that's going to be a GG for them. But having the Jace poke and already hitting Vayne, that's really nasty. And the fact that Skarner and Vladimir can potentially threaten Vayne a lot, that's going to be really dangerous for them. But I think having the forward momentum from Blaze, having the Aurelia plus the Olaf plus the Diana could maybe take enough pressure off of Vayne. And then there's also the Lulu for backup, where Vayne could be really safe in these fights and they can get some pressure onto Sivir.
But the question is, what do you do against the Jace who's being a jerk and throwing down shots behind a forest wall? There's not a whole lot that can be done there, and you just need to wait it out at this point. Try not to take as many free shots, or what you can do, you just charge straight on in. Olaf leading the charge with the wild growth from Lou, looking to 4v2 the rest of the team. Who's going down first? That will be Tarek and Frost. They're a little bit skittish at this point, but you do have Aurelia a little bit too far behind. Diana, though, coming in for the intercept. There is the hammer slam. Aurelia going to be going down. Skarner getting that kill, but Diana looking to claim, getting to Jace. Lulu going to be going down next, but Diana cannot edge it out. Frost taking that fight.
Yeah, and Blaze, it was a very even exchange. No one going down for Blaze at first, but everyone was pretty low, and they thought that they could press it and ended up walking into a full health Sivir. And Skarner's very strong in small fights. He's incredibly tanky and has a lot of damage, so they just walked to their death. But the fight started off, and it looked okay. It looked pretty strong for Blaze at first. It was a really great initiation, having the Olaf and Diana, and then that engage, and then having that Lulu combo for the pop-up was very strong. It started off great, but then Skarner was able to get on Vayne, and Skarner just ran straight into that backline and pulled Vayne right into the middle of the team, and Vayne had to flash out and tumble away in order to just survive, and it really resulted in a massive loss of damage from Blaze. If Vayne had been able to be more confident and stay alive a little bit longer, she didn't die, but if she was able to sit confidently attacking, then that probably would have been a one fight for Blaze if she was able to protect herself from Skarner. But because the focus from Blaze was already that they were forcing the initiation, they lost sight of Skarner and didn't have the CC to peel for Vayne. And that's really what turned the fight in Frost's favor.
Not to mention, this also speaks to one of the dangers going up against a team with so much poke, or just let alone a team with the Jace, is that you're entering these fights with less health than you normally would. Wild growth from Lou, that's not going to be enough to supplement everything. Everyone from Blaze entered that fight a little bit weaker just because of the free harassed Jace got in, and that is the key to a lot of fights that happen in mid game. Is how much poke can you get? How much damage can you front load before the real fight actually starts.
Well, and that's why you saw them force the initiation when they did. They didn't want to get poked down too much from Jace. They knew Jace was kind of split from the team. He was sitting off in the cubby corner there, and so they were able to get right in the middle of the rest of the team while Jace was kind of split. And so against a poke, that kind of poke aggression, you need a couple of things. One, you need to be able to, either sustain against it, so lifesteal, spell vamp, those kind of things, and having enough armor to reduce that damage, or you need to be able to force a fast initiation before the poke wears you down. And that's kind of key on Frost, to be able to be more reflexive and back off when Blaze is trying to force the fight, to be able to just say, no, all right, we're going to sit back for a second, we're going to kite you a little bit, and then continue to poke you down with Jace.
But look at Blaze, they are starting to itemize correctly to try and combat these strategies, but they have to get that money to do it first. You got Jace and Skarner getting a little bit too big for your bridges there in the top lane. You got the chase coming in. You got the pull from Skarner too.
Being stuck though.
Jace trying to stay as far away as he can. Lulu coming in with the wild growth, keeping everyone slowed. And Skarner is quite the tank at this point. Aurelia actually backing on off. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, you actually had Vlad take out Vayne outright.
It was a poor kind of decision on Vayne's part. So Vayne was trying to get up to the fight, ran right up the river, and was caught in between Vlad and Sivir. Sivir did a great job of breaking off from the fight and was able to trap her. And now Diana's trapped too, just sitting there. We'll be able to get over to the minions to the quick dash and trying to back off. But so Vayne was caught, and that's not something that can happen. They were trying to force the fight up top. I was kind of a little bit surprised. A lot of times when you see a team trying to push up top like that, you'll see the counter push come into the mid lane. And instead, they decided to just try and defend the turret and force a fight up there, and weren't quite able to get everyone in position to do it.
Yeah, hopefully Vayne does not get caught again. If she does, next time that could be a Baron. Or it may even very well be an inhibitor in addition, or game even. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully right now Blaze is going to be looking to group up later on. But they are starting to itemize very well. Aurelia very close to getting the Guardian Angel. Olaf, he's got that chain vest, he's going to be super tanky, and also Diana looking to itemize possibly into the Zhonya's. So you just go straight on into those fights. Zhonya's be protected for a few more seconds, and then keep that burst high and up.
Well, both teams are, really deep in their builds right now. It's still a slight gold lead for Frost, but it's not that significant because Vayne has really nice farm, and so that's always kind of the key element of this. And then Olaf and Aurelia, they're naturally tanky, and Aurelia's really doing well with her build. So Aurelia's at the situation where she can dive into the line of Azubu Frost. She can dive in the middle of their team and not just die instantly, and that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Vayne. So Azubu Frost has to watch out for that. But the constant harass from Jace and having the Bloodthirster and the Hex Drinker and the Brutalizer finish, that's like the common build on Jace, to have that just nasty poke off the side and the quick burst damage in the melee form. That's really going to be tough for them to deal with. And, not to mention, like you said, Vladimir just always has so much AoE damage and then has enough survivability to back it up.
So you have Frost looking to pressure the mid-tier 3. Here's Aurelia, surprise in the bush. Jace getting caught out on the side. Vlad thrown down the ult right in front of tower. So right now both teams are actually somewhat split. Small skirmishes here and there, but you look at Blaze, they're re-engaging here back in the mid. Vayne, is the damage sufficient? Yes, it is. Vlad gonna be going down there. Does a double kill for the Vayne. You got Skarner. He forces the flash out. Diana's still in pursuit. Meanwhile, you got Jace very low. Tarek just on a thread. You got the acceleration gate going on up, but Diana looking to cross paths. Jace, can you actually get out of here? He's got nowhere to run to.
Yeah, they have him cut off. Tarek in the Baron Pit will go down and then followed up by Jace. So an incredible fight for Azubu Blaze. That's going to result into a Baron for them. And Vayne initially, I thought Vayne maybe pulled herself out of position because she walked right into the Vladimir ultimate. And then she did a great job of backing off. And the entire fight, Vayne was sitting around the outside, had the heal. Aurelia almost going down, does back off. But Vayne was able to sit on the backside, had the heal for herself, had some protection from Lulu, and then turning it around. And that's just, the longer the fights last, the more and more Vayne is going to win. And that was exactly what happened. Vayne was able to take down, Vayne was taking down Sivir and Vladimir. Both of them were trying to focus down Vayne, but she had the support from her team. And in the meantime, Aurelia completely splitting off the tanks. And that's the key thing, is that Aurelia was tanky enough that she was able to force the fight up on the backside and force Skarner and Jace to retreat into the jungle. Yep. And so they weren't there to protect Vladimir and Sivir, who were just dueling with Vayne. And AD carry versus AD carry, Vayne's going to win every single one of those matchups if Aurelia can get another split going.
Gotta say, though, that was a risky play by Aurelia. If you get caught out in a bush looking for the pinch, on a team that's pressing down your towers, it could end up very badly. Or if you get caught out like this, Lulu getting pulled in by the Skarner, going to be melted immediately. Vlad going on down. This is looking pretty bad because Aurelia's not here. This is a 3v4 now at this point. Going to be going down to Diana. Vayne, what can you do? Not a whole lot. Ouch.
Originally it looked like Vayne was actually going to be in a situation to maybe take that down, but missing their frontline tanks, they weren't able to grab that. Damn. So, does go down in the end. And you saw for a second, Vayne was kind of sitting around not attacking anyone because she was kind of scared to continue fighting because she recognized they're going to be able to engage on her. So they lose that some of those Barons. That's
Barons on
just horrifying.
Barons on the carries. That's huge.
3 Baron buffs down. That's exactly what Frost needed to do. And they still have a gold lead in this situation. So they're really in a great situation to come back, despite the Baron for Blaze.
You still have some push going on in mid, though. Blaze picking up where they left off in mid, taking down to tier 1. Getting plenty of damage down to tier 2, actually. You're going to get a stick around. They see Vlad come in. They know Skarner's here, too. Now they back off. There's a Shirley's pop, and they will be backing out of there soon. Aurelia now with the Guardian Angel, too. So those fights are going to be a little bit easier for Blaze, provided Lulu doesn't get caught again, or Vayne doesn't get caught again. Everyone's, like, learning their lesson. Everyone's getting, like, their free lesson here. It's like, okay, I died. That was my one. I swear it's not going to happen again. Trust me. And hopefully that's the case.
At the same time, that had to have been kind of a scary fight for Frost because Vayne was taking a couple of them pretty low. Yeah. And even though they were almost able to insta-kill Lulu and the tanks weren't there for Blaze, it was a lot of damage from Vayne. So they have to be cognizant of how much he's going to be pressuring them and how they can stop that. Aurelia off on the top side is able to back off. That is not going to do a whole lot if Aurelia is caught out, but will be able to back off. And I mean, Olaf and Aurelia are just both so tanky right now that it's going to be really difficult for Frost to take them down before they can disrupt Sivir and Vladimir from doing the damage they need to do in fights. And
one thing I'm noticing too is that while the main, we're seeing a lot of defensive items on both teams, but when I look at Frost, I see a lot of defense, but I don't see a lot of health. Which, as we mentioned earlier in the game, against big true damage dealers like Vayne, like Olaf, doesn't do a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, it won't provide them as much security. But if they can press Vayne, then, I mean, that should be fine for them.
Right.
And they have a lot of damage right now, so they want to use it. And you see Vayne has a nice gold lead over Sivir, but just naturally Vayne has a lot more damage than Sivir. But Sivir does provide, the nice team ultimate. So having that attack speed and movement speed, it'll actually allow them to engage on Vayne a little bit more easily. And Jace can kind of wear them down here, so Vayne wants to make sure he doesn't get hit too much.
Here we go, Deja Vu trying to force off the push, and Skarner actually isolated from the rest of the team just temporarily. You got the Wildgo gone. You got the Vayne taking care of the Jace over on the side. Can you get the kill on Sivir? Yes, you can. You got the Hourglass back up also. Hourglass is everywhere. Vladimir does eventually go down, but you have a 2v2 here for Blaze in the mid. The rest of Blaze looking to catch up. Flash for Flash. Wants to chase the Skarner. There's the Q. Does not get the pullback. Something, anything. Get one more hit on the damn dude. There you go.
Yeah, they pick up the kill. They're going to be able to get an inhibitor off of this, and you see how strong Blaze is. And for Vayne to be able to just 1v1 the Bruiser is that's pretty devastating. He doesn't have any armor right now, so that adds to it a little bit. But they just have such a strong late game team at this point, and they're splitting off very nicely. So Vayne, by splitting off against Jace there, not only was she able to 1v1 Jace and take out a major damage source for Azubu Frost, but she also kept herself safe. She kept herself out of the AoE of the rest of the team, out of the Skarner threat, and being able to split up out of the Vladimir ultimate is really huge. That's Blaze's key to success in this game. And Frost, they need to be able to make sure that Blaze is clumped and get that initiation with Skarner. they need to be forcing the fights, and Blaze is making sure they're not. Blaze is going on the offensive every single time and forcing the fight against Frost.
Yep, that's what you need to do against the team. Like Frost wants the safe push. Blaze, they're making the right call. They're not allowing to have, like, okay, you want to push into us? Fine, we'll push right back into you. It's just like two siblings, one kicking, one swinging their arms. Eventually, something has to collide, and it's going to happen. And now the damage output for Blaze is getting even higher. You look at Lulu picking up the Zeke's Herald. That's going to benefit nearly everybody on the team. And also Vayne. It's going to be very hard to solo her out now with the QSS. With that cleanse in tow, it's going to be rather hard to single her out again.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, that helps counter out the Skarner, and that was really Frost's big hope this game, is to be able to shut down the Vayne. So having the Lulu, for the support and that pop-up with the ultimate and the shield and everything, it's going to be really difficult for Frost to be able to take down Vayne. So they need to be able to, pull out that cleanse from Vayne and then follow it up with a Taric stun or follow it up with something that allows them to burst them down. But the concern is, if they're doing that, if they're putting so much effort into getting Vayne, whether or not the rest of Blaze is just, strong enough at this point that when Frost clumps up together, they can just AoE them. And Aurelia and Diana, diving in, and Olaf diving in, and that they won't just win once all the efforts are wasted to take down Vayne.
Guardian Angel are just popping up a little bit more. You got one on Sivert now. You also have, the Zonias on Vladimir. We saw that earlier. Randuin's to go with the Shurelias on discarding wants to. So he's also got a red elixir. He recognizes that he's like the main frontline tank. He wants to have a little bit more health when those fights come along, or even just the last second heal if needs be. You also have Jace with that chain vest. He wants a little bit extra tank, but here we go. Aurelia caught on the back. Skarner, he wants something. He wants to get engaged. He wants to get a pull, but he will not be able to close the gap there at all. Frost decides to back off. Diana also over on the side, but now both teams have the oracles. They are clearing out that vision, so now it's just a battle of positioning. And right now, Blaze, they are poised in front of the Baron pit. He has respawned, but there is still a ward in the river unchecked that Olaf needs to clear. It's in that brush. You always want to check that bush too. But I think Blaze, they're still pretty confident and where they are right now. There we go. He's going to be able to find that word.
That was a great job by Lulu in that last exchange. Skarner recognized that Blaze was split, and that was really their biggest opportunity, but the flash was down on Skarner, so they used the Shurelias to try and get in range, and Lulu was just able to use the Glitter Lance and the Polymorph to barely get them out of there. They are split right now, though. Again, Diana's on the bottom half of the map, but they have no idea they're doing the Baron. I mean, they have to suspect it, but not even pressuring it. They are starting to move up, but the Baron is down already. The key is, can they engage before Diana groups with the team?
I'm surprised Frost actually didn't force it. They may not have had vision on the Baron, but they did have vision over on the river heading down to the south part of the map, and I imagine they must have seen Diana actually leave the rest of the team. They just didn't have vision on everyone else, so they might as well, hey, best case scenario, we got a 4v5 at the very least. I'm surprised they didn't push it.
Yeah, he saw them move up for a bit to try and fight it, but they were just a little bit too slow, and Diana was grouped with the team at that point. They are able to take down another turret. The mid inhibitor is still down, and with that Baron, they're going to be able to pressure into them. The bot as well is going to be pushing in their favor, and the minion advantage from that mid inhibitor is really helping to push in all these sides, and Blaze can really just be really passive and just put some pressure on the top lane, and slowly the minions will win the game for them.
Yep, and the wave clear is pretty sufficient on both teams too. In Vayne, and it's Vayne. She's doing plenty of damage really fast. But you got Sivert and you got Jace for the counter push, and they're pretty good at their own right. But I'm wondering if Blaze is actually going to go for that aggression they were doing earlier when they were on the defensive. It's like, hey, they got a tower, F it, Shurelias, pop, let's go, let's do this. But they're pretty content right now with this in bot. Look, the wave at bot is now going to be hitting the tower in just a moment. Same thing with mid. But the thing is, though, mid, remember, the inhibitor is down. Superman is going to be pushing soon. They cannot keep this up forever.
Yeah, and you saw Vayne, the lifesteal, it helps counter out the Jace, but you see Vayne and Diana keep on dipping in. They're trying to bait out a pool or something. They're trying to bait a fight from Frost and see then if they can do something. And the Taric stun, it does go into Vayne, but Frost doesn't even force it. They recognize that Lulu and everything has too much protection for Vayne that it wouldn't really matter. And
also good, smart on Vayne to actually not blow the QSS on a simple stun like that. And that would have been pretty much showing your cards a bit too early. And if the bigger team fight were to happen, you would not have it. But there's Shurelias pop. Olaf leading the charge once again.
But right now, Frost, they're doing the smart thing. They're actually staying behind. Let them take the inhib, let them back off. There's no way we can reasonably defend it. If we're going to fight them, we might as well do it in one of the other lanes when we at least have a tower to back us up.
And having that fresh inhibitor along with the Baron still at half is really going to be pretty devastating for Frost. So they're at a point where you know, they're trying to wait until that Baron's down, but they really need to force a fight at some point. The quick tumble gets Vayne out of there, even through the Taric stun, and they just, Frost recognizes that they can't deal with Vayne right now, so they need to wear her down. And actually, a second shot on from Jace onto Vayne does help out a little bit.
Minute and a half left on Blaze's Baron buff, and Diana actually making the transition down to bot lane. Once you get some split push going, recognizing that nothing's going to be happening too much in your top lane, might as well get those creeps pushing, get some damage onto that tier 3. Meanwhile, the rest of the Blaze there still remaining in the top lane, wants to clear the wave, and here comes Diana. Only Jace to defend for the time being.
That's the best thing, is that Jace is the only one who can defend against Diana, but pulling Jace, by Diana splitting, pulling Jace off, it removes all of that harass that was going on to Vayne, which was like their big saving grace right now. And it seems they're actually just going to fight this, so Vlad coming right into the back line, trying to threaten Vayne, but Vayne, it seems they're going to be able to turn that around. The quick damage, Vlad does use that Zhonya's, but the Lulu ultimate is protecting them, and even Aurelia is able to get out of there as they turn around and just force them fight. Don't go for any kills, but in the meantime, Diana has moved back up with the team, and they can go in for a second run.
I love that. I love that coordination from Blaze. Like, okay, we got someone really low. They're retreating. Let's move on to the next guy. We don't need the kill. We just need the positioning. Tower's gone. Inhibitor's gonna be gone. Blaze is in a great spot right now, and they still have a bit of the Baron buff. But they didn't take out the inhib. Almost got it.
Well, they recognize they need to get out of there quickly. They can go in and push again, but they don't want to have a bad fight that could really quickly turn the game against them.
Tower's down. That's the important part.
The tower is down, and the Baron was also about to drop. So if they had gone for the inhibitor, then there's the potential, and there it goes. The Baron is down. There was the threat that if they went for that inhibitor, that one last tick, then Frost would just continue to chase them down. They're all at half-life. They lose the Baron buff, and then all of a sudden, Frost gets, you know, 3 kills, 4 kills or something, and is able to push up and take their mid inhibitor, which would then stall the game greatly for Blaze, but also open up the possibilities of a Frost comeback. And Frost right now, they know they need to just force a hard engage at some point. So they're waiting for Blaze to make a misstep, waiting for them to, you know, just take 1 foot out of line, and then they can try and make a play to get them back into this game.
And right now, their best option would be to wait for that Baron, because he's got his 43-23 is going to respawn. He's got about 2.5 minutes until he comes back. The mid inhibitor, if not respawning, should be respawning soon after the respawn, so they can still pressure it without putting too much of their base at risk. But that does still leave the option open for a sneaky member of Blaze actually come on in, swoop, grab an inhibitor, and get out. But that's when Frost's opportunity will be best. Wait for next Baron to respawn, try and force it out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what Blaze is thinking as well, is that they can just sit back, allow the minions to keep pushing onto Frost, and then go for that Baron when it comes up. But we'll see if they, you know, continue to pressure any of the lanes. I think they recognize they need the Baron regen to deal with Jace, because Jace, you know, yes, they weren't getting very low from the Jace harass, but a lot of that has to do with their lifesteal and also the Baron regen that they had. So now they're a little bit more concerned. He has the Last Whisper as well, and they recognize that that'll just slowly win the fight for them if they decide to push. So that Blaze, they know they need to force a fight outside of the base or be able to take the Baron.
5 Guardian Angels in the game now. 3 on Blaze, 2 on Frost. Aurelia, Olaf, and Diana, the entire front line of Azubu Blaze has an extra life. Meanwhile, you look at Frost, Jace, and Sivir. You know, you have your front line, but you also got one in the back line, recognizing that Sivir's actually been chunked out rather huge in prior fights. They know they don't have the best way of defending her now at this point, because you have gap closers like Diana, like Aurelia. I don't think they're as confident they can protect her. And now Blaze, they see Frost on the side, and Frost, they're not here to defend.
Oh, they have
Blaze,
the bot.
They can come in real quick, grab the open inhib, grab the tier 3. Frost needs to hurry in order to stop this mayhem.
And they are going to transition into the bot lane. They had the minions pushing down, so they're going to get another turret, so that's going to leave all of the inhibitors exposed. So it was a great play by Blaze. Frost is trying to engage, but it's not going to be fast enough.
Nice. The tower is now gone, but looking for the engage anyway. Vlad ult down, Lulu ult up. Skarner going to be the first one to go down. I hear the Zhonya's, but look at Vayne on the back line forcing out the Zhonya's. And he's like, hey, you know what? I can ignore you now. You just go for the rest of the team. Vladimir is forced off. Jace is down, and that is it. 4 for free for Azubu Blaze. Vlad is trapped out of his base. He left his keys in his car, and now Blaze can just ravage the entire base, and I think they got it here.
Oh, the ward from Aurelia getting over the backside to take down Rapid Star. Does pop the GA. Oh, no, just barely.
Doesn't even pop it.
But there's the Nexus. There's the game. Azubu Blaze does take it down, and you saw, you know, they had enough damage even without Vayne, but Vayne was safe on the backside the entire time of that fight. But Olaf and Aurelia were just so strong at that point, and same thing with Diana, that without Vladimir's AoE on them, because Vlad was splitting off trying to fight Vayne, without the AoE onto this, you know,